make my day.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Oh, we're here, Jamie. Hi, how are you?
I am very well, Sam. How and also who are you?
I'm Sam Russo. I'm doing fantastically well. You, as always, are Jamie Carruthers, and we are the Final Transmission podcast. We review one horror movie every week from now until the end of time, correct?
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, so I'm not correcting you.
There
but
you
I
go.
will correct you later when you are inevitably wrong.
As is my way and yours, I'm the wrong guy and you're the right guy. So Today we're talking about a movie that I'm going to be wrong about every minute or so. It's Waxwork, 1988, R-rated, 1 hour 35 minutes. Waxwork. How do you feel?
Yep. Directed by Anthony Hickox,
Dead.
who died last year. Rest in the ground.
In Romania.
Unless he was cremated. I have no idea.
Me
Already
neither.
editing this out.
Yep, moving on. Yeah, you really are creating work for yourself. So this movie, surprise, surprise, was your choice. What's your history? What's your relationship with the movie Waxwork?
Well, tell me your history first, Sam.
Nope.
I'm interested to hear. You had seen it before, right?
Yeah, I had. You don't remember this, do you? You recommended me this movie but pre-podcast days. I was asking you for an 80s movie. I told you I was on a good old-fashioned slasher kick and I needed something to ratchet up the mayhem a little bit. And you recommended me this movie and I sought it out and I watched it. So we're talking, a few years ago. It was fresh in my memory when I rewatched, I'll tell you that much. And so this was my second watch.
Interesting. I mean, my history with this movie is a little bit fractured, really. I don't think I saw this until maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
I remember thinking it was fun. I remember thinking there's probably something in there to discuss. And that's why I picked it, Sam.
You're being very officious, Jamie. You're holding your cards tightly to your bosom. Pourquoi, monsieur?
I mean, it's not a good film, is it?
I'm glad you said it first. The answer is no. No, it's not.
I mean, I think it's really fun, but I do think there are a lot of missed opportunities here, which we can dig into in depth after the break. But for now, why don't you give us a synopsis, Sam?
No.
It's been a while.
Nope. I don't understand what happens in this film. And my synopsis is this film seems to be loosely based on any movie with the word wax in the title from the history of cinema. 1924 Waxworks, for example. The 1933 Mystery of the Wax Museum, which was remade into the 1953 House of Wax with Vincent Price?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was also remade in 2001 with El Paris Hilton.
Same title.
Yep.
Lots of waxy dippings. Yep. Wow. This movie, there's a waxy wax house, a wax museum house, inexplicably in the middle of a housing development. A bunch of douchebag kids find it, are invited inside, and they encounter wax museum exhibits of an eclectic nature. They interact with these exhibits by sort of leaning a bit too close, touching them, and being sucked into a living version of the wax scenes that they've just encountered in the museum. Things happen in there. They're spat back out or they die. And it's all part of a big, creepy, masterminded plot to take over the world.
Yeah, it involves some nice suburban type Satanism, which I'm a big fan of.
Oh, you love that shit. I mean, I love that shit.
As a concept.
I mean, it's fucking loose already. Let's be honest. Like that is quite an accurate synopsis, and that's a bad little story I just told you.
Yeah. Notably, it stars Zack Galligan, best known as Billy Peltzer from the Gremlins movies.
Gremlins, yeah. I knew him from somewhere, and I was really struggling with it, even on second watch, and I had to look it up. But yeah, there he is. Gremlins 2 features very highly in your all-time favorite movie list, correct?
Correct.
There you go, there he is.
And in this, he's giving us an absolute Billy Warlock performance. Giving
high praise.
He's giving pure Billy Warlock, specifically in Society.
Do you think so?
It's basically the same character.
Yeah.
I would say.
Not anywhere near as good though.
No.
I don't like Zack Galligan. I'm gonna be totally honest this episode because I don't have the energy to not be. I don't really like looking at him. I find him a real rough hang. So he's a tough star for me to hang the movie on this guy. Woof.
Yeah, I mean, his character is a tough character as well because he's what, a spoiled little rich prick with a heart of gold.
No, not really. And this is the thing, right? A comparison to Billy Warlock there is always going to rub me up the wrong way because Billy Warlock, I really, really like. I nearly said love. He's one of my favorite characters in Baywatch ever. You know, Days of Our Lives, he's a genuinely endearing guy with a proper nasty streak. I find this guy just less pleasant to look at and watch in a movie.
Maybe what I mean is that I wish he was Billy Warlock.
Yeah, okay. Swap him out for Billy Warlock, and we're in a, 5% less shambolic state.
I think if you mix together the Zack Galligan's character Mark and Dana Ashbrook's character together,
yeah,
like that is a pure Billy Warlock character.
Yeah, but also I'm thinking about Billy Warlock and Dana Ashbrook together. There's chemistry there. I think those guys would gangbusters. That'd be good.
So also starring Dana Ashbrook, we've also got Deborah Foreman, who is, gorgeous. We've got Michelle Johnson, also gorgeous.
Yeah, Michelle Johnson. Let me stop you there real quick before you get on to deeper things. I could not place her to save my life, but she had the most recognizable face, and I've trawled her IMDb, and I cannot figure out what I've seen her in. Do you have any idea?
I mean, she's in Death Becomes Her. That's probably the thing that I would recognize her from. She's in a really good episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Ooh, that might be it. I know she's in a movie called Far and Away, which is a Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman sloppy romance. And I actually really like that movie, or I liked it when I was a kid. So it could be that, but I don't remember her in it. I just can't place her.
The episode of Tales from the Crypt that she's in is the one with Brion James.
Who's Brion James?
You know who Brion James is. He's an actor who is inexplicably in loads of things despite having the most weird face of any actor ever. He looks like he's half Klingon.
I've only just learned who Bryan Cranston is. I'm not very good at Brian's.
Well, that's that. Also stars David Warner, who is, I guess, would we call him like horror royalty?
As far as I'm going to go, David Warner is to say that he's a real actor.
He is a real actor. You wouldn't know it in this movie, but he is a real actor.
Yeah, he was not even phoning it in this movie. Didn't even take the phone off the cradle. Just fucking laid back and let the movie happen around him. He fucking sucks.
Yeah, he's faxing it near.
He's faxing it in. Holy shit. He's dictating a fax. Wowie wow. Anyway, listen. You're going to love this movie, guys. You got to check it out. I know we're slagging it off, but trust me. At least Jamie will come around and tell you some good stuff about it soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here. I mean, two other notable people who are in it. We've got Miles O'Keefe as Dracula.
Sounds like a made-up name.
Yeah, it does sound like a made-up name, but he's a real guy. If you ever watched Graham Norton in the 90s, he would ring up Miles O'Keefe every now and then.
Nah.
And have a little chat with him. That's how I got to know who Miles O'Keefe was. He's in like a bunch of like sword and sorcery movies, which I'm a huge fan of, like the Ator movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in this as Dracula. And then we've also got John Rhys Davies, who I love because I'm a huge Sliders fan. And he was obviously Professor Arturo in Sliders. Other people might like him in, Indiana Jones or whatever, but sliders is the thing for me.
And of course, he's Gimli. Just
He
learning
is-
this now.
He is Gimli, yeah, and he plays the Wolfman here.
Yeah.
So we're already drifting towards spoilers, so why don't we take a break?
Yeah, imagine how
back.
fucking confused people are. Like, Wolfman, Dracula, Indiana Jones, what are you talking about? Let's have a break and come back with some semblance of coherence.
I mean, we'll do our best.
Whoa, shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
Oh, we are back in Wax. What do you say, Jamie?
I say, speaking of Wax, that anyone listening to this should go and pre-order the Red Scare 20-year anniversary compilation, 20 Years of Dreaming and Scheming, over at redscare.net. Our glorious benefactors over at Red Scare are celebrating 20 years of being totally righteous and fucking radical punk rock label. And, you know, we salute them. What do you say, Sam?
I'd say that's a huge pump. 100% agree. Speaking of Wax, Toby Jeg, wax off to pictures of dogs. The Red Scare Industries 20-year celebration is a massive deal for the label. There's a big takeover of the Punk Rock Museum happening in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States of America. There's shows happening in Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, Chicago, Wisconsin, everywhere. So check that out. Have a look on social media at Red Scare Industries. Go to redscare.net and contribute to some independent music by listening and enjoying.
If they wanted to see you at any of these events, Sam, what dates should they look at specifically?
September 27th to 29th, we're at the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas, and I'm playing shows all around that weekend. So check that out on my Instagram at Sam Russo Music. Going to be announcing more shows soon.
Amazing. So speaking of Wax,
I think we should do
Again.
a shot every time one of us says wax from now on. I've already heard the word wax too many times.
yeah, well, I'm going to wax lyrical about this movie now.
Go on then.
I'm not. I'm just going to talk about it. My initial question, and one of the first things that I wrote down, was how can any movie that opens with Benny Goodman, how could it be bad? Like, it's
Because it all goes
impossible, right?
downhill from there. It's such a big and completely out of place statement to open the movie. I remember watching this for the second time being like, oh shit, maybe I don't remember this movie. Oh, no, I do. Yeah, that's just misleading. Thank you.
Yeah, we go from Benny Goodman, what's that song called? Sing, Sing, Sing. We go from that to talking about Hitler almost immediately.
Yeah, neck-breakingly fast transition there. And then we're just rocketed into this strange world that just doesn't really make any sense. These people don't fit together really socially. They don't really gel. They're in a strange domestic situation, and then they're in a strange school situation. And immediately I think it's obvious that this movie isn't taking itself seriously at all. And that's when we start to be endeared a little bit to the place we're put in.
I mean, it describes itself as a comedy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny, but I do think there's an atmosphere of fun.
I would almost, and just not to be a dick, but I would almost say the complete opposite. I actually think there's quite a few funny moments in the movie, but I don't really find it fun at all. There's one moment in this movie that a lot of people will groan, roll their eyes, maybe even leave the room and turn it off, but I think is fucking hilarious. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't, but I'm desperate to know.
We're deep into spoiler territory. When Dracula turns into a bat and is captured in someone's hand and they hold a gun to the bat's head and the bat says, "Make my day." That's so dumb. But it did make me laugh. It's the stupidest fucking moment possibly in any movie we've covered on the pod, but it made me piss my pants. And
Yeah, it's a funny moment.
yeah, and that is a very late in the game declaration of intent to be a comedy. Like there's no coming back from that, and it reframes the fucking whole purpose of the movie. But you know, leaping from serious dramatic depictions of the Marquis de Sade brutalizing a woman to the Bat Dracula quoting Clint Eastwood is fucking end-to-end batshit madness.
Hear me out. The Marquis de Sade scenes are fucking hot.
Yeah, but why? They shouldn't be. This movie shouldn't have such a long, horny bondage scene, a period drama bondage in the middle of it. It's obviously, I know it's because it's a vignette movie. It's supposed to be made up of, it's kind of Creepshow style in a lot of ways, which is part of the fun. But holy crap, is it jarring?
I think it's really, I mean, we're jumping around quite a lot here, but like, it's so funny that when Zack Galligan's character takes Sarah home and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm just looking for something else. What she means by that is hardcore fucking bondage.
Possibly the most hardcore bondage in the history of the world.
The Marquis de Sade is like, I've never seen a whore take this much. Like, you are shocking the Marquis de Sade. Like,
you're a teenage valley girl and the Marquis de Sade doesn't know what to do with you. Fucking hell. Yeah.
And like, I don't think that the characters, when they go into these sort of vignette worlds, are hypnotized by it. I think they're just in it. So when she's like, please don't let him take me, I want you to whip me more, she means that.
Yeah, she absolutely, because like Dana Ashbrook is the first one to go into a scene, right? Yeah. And he is kind of reluctantly playing along, and that sets the dynamic for me for the rest of the scenes. I don't think there is any magic or hypnosis or, well, there's magic. No. I don't think that people are being like magically manipulated. I think their personalities dictate how they respond to the thing happening around them. I kind of would have liked it if Dana Ashbrook had been in the Marquis de Sade scene, personally. Switch it up.
Yeah.
I think he's so attractive. I find that man so beautiful.
I mean, he's an objectively very beautiful man, but I sort of
annoying.
I don't see it in this when he's all sort of preppy. I like him when he's a bit rough and ready in like Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's such a brilliant performance in Twin Peaks. I absolutely love him in that. Obviously, I really like him in The Return as well, which you haven't seen, am I right?
Still haven't seen The Return.
Yeah, okay. As of this recording, Jamie has still not seen The Return. He's so handsome and such a great actor in that, and. Yeah, in this, I like seeing a bit of the texture, the skinny tie, the more like 80s fashion, but again, like you said, more on the preppy side. Kind of like seeing that, but I do immediately crave Bad Boy Bobby when I see him on screen.
Can I ask you a question that's not related to Dana Ashbrook in any way?
Yes.
You know that when, like normally in a movie when there's a scene in school and they're talking about something, it kind of feeds into the plot in some way.
Yes.
And it's sort of like in Encino Man or California Man, they're talking literally about the Cro-Magnon man, right?
Yeah.
And like in Clueless, presumably they're talking about Shakespeare. I don't fucking remember.
Yeah.
But like in this, they're talking about Hitler. Why are they talking about Hitler?
I've got the most tenuous link for you.
Go on, I'm so ready for it.
It's almost boring. So if the plot of these maniacal waxworkers is to bring about the end of the world by doing something to do with the most evil people in history, I just think it's a shocking, sloppy foreshadowing attempt. Show a bit of Hitler.
The most evil person in Hitlery.
Hitlery Clinton. Yeah, he...
well, that is political.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Adolf Hitler was one of history's bad guys. And the teacher...
The Final Transmission podcast are going on record now. Hitler was bad.
Yeah.
We are anti-Hitler.
Yeah. Well, let's not...
Some of his paintings, pretty good.
Sure.
Some of his genocides, pretty bad.
Yes.
How about that?
Agreed. Not big... We're not pro-Hitler. Look at it that way. So Hitler sucks. And I think what the movie is doing is painting this teacher out to be like Hitler. Because later on... there's no mention of Hitler when they talk about the worst dudes in history. For some reason, this fucking zany madcap plot to take over the world with the most evil individuals in the history involves almost entirely fictional characters, plus a few real characters who really aren't that evil. So,
yeah,
that's my best bet. Shitty foreshadowing.
So, speaking about the fictional characters, do you think that, like, this movie is attempting in some way to be meta? Like, in this universe, the Wolfman existed, and the zombie shenanigans of Night of the Living Dead really happened?
No.
Okay, cool. Good talk.
I can't expand, I guess. No, because I think what's really happening here is when you go to make the Waxwork Museum interesting and to make the movie interesting, they have decided to have things like horror characters because that's what horror movie fans like. You know, if it was just like Genghis Khan, sure, it would be fun. And I'm sure they would have found a way to make it hilarious, but it has less appeal to a horror audience than Dracula. Or, you know, I don't know who else is evil. If it's fucking Goering, it's just a little bit more obtuse for the average horror movie viewer than the werewolf.
Yeah, you can't
Or
even
the
bring yourself to
Wolfman.
say Hitler.
Well, I didn't want to say Hitler because we already did Hitler, okay? And we already decided he's not making the list. Marquis de Sade was far more evil than Hitler, according to this movie. I mean,
I
who
know
the fuck
so
else?
painfully little about the Marquis de Sade.
Yeah, don't care. Just all I know about the Marquis de Sade is what I learned in the 1988 Waxwork. They learned more
Well,
about the Marquis de Sade at that Waxwork museum than I know about him.
yeah, all I know about the Marquis de Sade is that he makes his wax work.
Oh, baby, hi, there he is. Well played, back on top, buddy. Yeah. I don't understand the movie, is what I'm getting at. And listen, there's so much in this that is painful and unforgivable in terms of filmmaking. And I can't honestly say there's other stuff that counterbalances enough to make it an enjoyable watch. So it is falling firmly into the rough hand category for me. But there is fun stuff in there. There are nuggets to buff.
Yeah. I love Miles O'Keefe's attempt at Dracula. Like, why wouldn't Dracula be an underwear model? Like, why wouldn't he advertise aftershave? If he was real and here now,
Yeah.
he would be advertising Davidoff Cool Water. So
Do what thou wilt when it comes to Dracula. You know,
yeah,
we've seen a lot of Drac. If you're going to do something new with it, fucking be my guest. I'm not going to fucking slag you off for trying something new with Drac.
like history has told us that Dracula is a sexually attractive man, right? But movies never capture him being, you know, actually a hot dude.
Mm.
So I think it's a bit of a different step. And I think, like, I remembered that the Marquis de Sade was in this, but I didn't remember, like, beat for beat what happens in the movie. So when Deborah Foreman, no, not Deborah Foreman, the other character, when China goes to Vampire Land, Castle Dracula, I was like, this Marquis de Sade stuff is different than I remember.
Oh, really?
Because, like, he's just a weird dude for most of it. He's just being an odd, sort of
Cannibal.
slightly awkward cannibal man. And then
Yeah.
obviously we get into the Dracula stuff, and it's because it's not the story of Dracula that we are familiar with, even like an off-brand version of it.
Mm.
It's just this guy is Dracula and this is a castle, and that's all you need to know. And like the stuff where he's like, you know, eat the raw meat, have some sauce.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird, and like it feels so odd and uncomfortable in a way that, I mean, I think it's supposed to make you feel like you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
But like, it's not fun. It's
No.
just sort of like him staring at her and her being like, "Oh, it's been a while since I've had steak tartare."
Yeah. Almost funny. I mean, you don't watch that scene and go, "Oh, Dracula," which is good because there's a lot to be said for, you know, fucking around with the whole idea of Dracula and turning him into a cannibal who just eats a guy's leg for some reason.
There's a lot of comedy in that guy's leg.
Really
like people
enjoyed
just
that.
keep falling on it. People
Yeah.
just keep like,
When
well,
the
that's just
rat,
great.
when the rat is on the leg and she shoos it off, he really does a good job of selling how painful that is. It's quite a
Well,
fun
especially
scene.
because the rat prosthetic or like special effect in big fucking quotes doesn't do a very good job of selling a rat. It's just a ball of fluff.
Well, I wasn't looking closely enough. I believed 100% it was a rat. Going back to your previous point, nobody on planet Earth remembers this movie beat for beat, Jamie, because it's fucking jazz as hell. It's all over the shop. Offbeat doesn't begin to describe the rhythm of this movie. If you were drawing a graph of it, fuck, the end of this movie is an hour long. It's madness.
Yeah, I think like a thing that I really respect about this film
Yeah.
is that you have no prior indication before Billy from Twin Peaks, what's his character's actual name? Dana Ashbrook, Tony, before he falls through the portal.
Yeah.
You're given no indication that that's what's happening here.
No.
All you have is them walking through a room of quote unquote waxworks, which are human people that can't really stand still.
Yeah.
And then he falls through it. It's like all of a sudden it's insane. And you're like, fucking hell, this is a swing.
Yeah. It is. There's a big moment there, when he goes through the, again, excellent special effect portal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You do kind of, if you were drifting, you snap back and you're like, what the fuck is this? I hate, repeat, double underlined, can't put a positive spin on this, I'm afraid, how shaky the camera is for the first 20 minutes of the movie. And the people moving in the waxwork displays drive me nuts. That's unforgivable in a cinematic presentation. But moving swiftly on.
I think that John Rhys Davies is an amazing Wolfman.
Why?
I just think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And good at being big. And he gives a very big performance here.
So you mean like when he's the wolf? Man.
No. Like, I don't think it's really him inside that wolf.
Oh, okay.
Animatronic or whatever. But like in the scene where he's trying to sell, and the movie is trying to sell to Tony that this isn't some bad PCP or whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
I think he sells it really well. Like, I think, like I say, him and Miles O'Keefe as Dracula, and the guy who plays the Marquis de Sade as well, who low-key looks like Corey Feldman looks now. I think they're all really good and they really sell it.
I think that's probably part of the like quintessential problem I have with the movie is I forget everybody and who everybody is. Everyone feels really similar to me. There's a bunch of swashbuckling guys who have long hair. There's the Marquis de Sade with long hair. There's Dracula guys with long hair. There's everyone in period dress. The Wolfman guys all have long hair. All of that stuff just bleeds into one for me. And then some old man shows up and I'm like, oh, okay, right, I remember him. And that's about it. I remember the Marquis de Sade scenes in detail, but I don't remember him. Like police sketch would be completely wrong if I described who he was. There's a lot of anonymity and scenes kind of blurring into each other. There's a whole scene with a baby that I just had completely forgotten. What is the baby scene?
That's the baby from It's Alive. That's a Larry Cohen movie.
Right.
So I think the original plan was to have more like recent horror villains.
Really?
And they basically didn't do that for one reason or another. And the baby from It's Alive is the only real remnant of that.
There's a fucking knockoff Pumpkinhead at one point that made me gasp. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean that's you could approximate Pumpkinhead as well without like stealing anybody's IP.
Yeah.
And they fucking tried.
That is probably the bottom line with this movie. They tried. It is a shower of shit, but somebody tried.
I think like a thing that's pretty nifty and ahead of its time is that the Frankenstein's monster character looks like what Robert De Niro will eventually look like as Frankenstein's monster in
You're probably right.
in the 90s version.
I like the zombie sequence. I think it's pretty respectful.
One of the things that Anthony Hickox, the director, and presumably the other people that worked on this try to do is they try and approximate the filming style of some of the classic movies that they're referencing or lampooning or whatever when they're in these scenes.
Yeah.
But the only one that really nails that is the Night of the Living Dead stuff. You get all
it
of
really
those,
stands out.
Yeah, you get those insane angles and all the I think the zombies look like dog shit, but like there's a lot of attention paid to how Night of the Living Dead looked, and they do a really good job of making it look like that and making it look like it existed in that world. But the rest of it doesn't really manage that, I don't think.
No, and before that scene goes meta and goes wrong, I think the early shots of the zombies look the zombies look really good. But then we spend way too much time looking too closely at them, and they become, terrible waxworks, which is maybe part of the point. But
well, I think the zombies look good for an 80s zombie movie, but they don't look good for Night of the Living Dead.
no, yeah, I get you.
An effect that I really like the look of is when Dana Ashbrook is half turning into the Wolfman in his shot with a silver bullet, and so he's sort of half changed when he's dead.
Yeah.
And that looks cool as hell.
And again, I think that's pretty referential of the best werewolf movies to me. Like it looks like it's taken a page out of a lot of good special effects on werewolves and disregarding a lot of bad, because transitional werewolf is normally the funniest, dumbest part of the transformation. But he looks great there, and it's cool to be able to see that it's still him, and it's great to watch him die in that state. What do you think of the actual werewolf costume?
I think it's pretty good until they linger on it for a little bit too long.
Yeah. I mean, it has the goriest scene in the movie in that sequence. He rips the guy in half. Lengthways.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically, and we're a fan of that.
Yeah,
visual.
That's one of my favorites.
The Final Transmission podcast. But like, I wonder if, because basically the rest of the movie is gore free, if there was some sort of an agreement somewhere early in production where it was like, you could have this, but then you can't have anything else.
There's a lot of blood later on. The Dracula scenes, there's some proper like gouts, hosepipe gouts of blood. And in the end sequence, there's a lot of. I thought kind of the other way around. Like the end sequence has so much deaths by gunfire. I thought maybe that was something that tipped censorship into a naughty place. I don't know.
Well, I feel like none of those bullets hit.
Yeah, true.
In the final scene, you don't see an awful lot of bloody squibs go off.
Yeah, you don't see like someone's head get blown off or anything like that.
I wish you did. Good. I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Two things that I want to reference now, and we can talk about them a little bit. One, you never see a guy hang out in the street playing harmonica anymore. Why is that?
Not enough phone boxes to lean against.
Yeah.
Also, because it's fucking lame.
What's lamer, like matchstick in the mouth or playing harmonica?
Harmonica, 100%. You never want to put a matchstick in your mouth as soon as you see one.
Who's Matt? Is he fit?
Final Transmission podcast. Gay as a sheep.
Yeah. And then the second thing there is that the cop, I can't hate him because he's such a bad actor.
Didn't even know there was a cop. Who's the cop?
So Billy Peltzer, Zack Galligan's character, goes and finds the cop.
Oh, yeah.
And brings him in, and the cop is super into Egypt, ancient Egypt, for some reason.
Yeah.
But this cop is the actor is so bad that, like, I can't hate him, even though he's a cop, because I just never believe him for 1 second that he's even met a policeman in real life.
Yeah, he's dreadful, but again, he just sort of weaves perfectly into the fine patchwork quilt of dreadful performances, so much so that you forget him. Does he look like Kyle Reese? Is it that guy?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. I don't know. There's so many egregious affronts to acting in this movie that guy fucking slipped my filter. Bad. Why is David Warner in this film?
I think he maybe owed somebody a favor.
Gotta be. He's not on the cover, which is fucking bonkers. You'd think like there's one name in this movie. Put him on the cover. Nope.
Yeah, I think maybe he hit Anthony Hickox with his car or something.
Yeah, gotta be a fucking Slip and Jimmy scheme in there, surely. I know this is a guy, he had done lots of good shit by this point. He went on to do even more. He had a really, really solid career, despite, in my opinion, not really bringing a lot to the table. And inexplicably, he's just fucking in Waxwork.
He is.
He's also dead.
He's in it.
2022.
R.I.P. Shouldn't have got the vaccine. Going back to this cop, I just think, like, he's so bad. And also, like, he's even more endearing when he's in the Indiana Jones, the mummy scene.
Yeah. I thought the mummy scene was fucking hilarious. The mummy's arms. Oh, my God. Come on.
I love it that they call the mummy when they're in the mummy scene. They're like, oh, my God, it's the mummy.
Yeah.
Like, There are two mummies in the room with you right now. Like,
Yeah.
which one is it?
Not Akhenaten or like any specific historical mummy. It's 100% the mummy from the movie The Mummy. Yeah.
I think the mummy looks great though. I love his face.
I do actually like the mummy. Yeah, it's my kind of mummy. Wow.
Yeah. Wowie wow.
So when I think about the movie Waxwork, my face hurts. Like it's why? Okay, double barrel question: does it get a pass, and if so, why?
I think it's just about fun enough to eke by on like a D grade. Do you know what I mean?
Would you class it as madcap?
I think it is madcap.
Yeah.
This film, I mean, there's a lot of running from one location to another and screaming, which we all know you hate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the wackiness of the premise and the fact that we never stay in one place too long. We're never in the walls. We're either in the werewolf movie or the vampire movie or the mummy movie or the Marquis de Sade bondage movie.
Or the inexplicably tiled kitchen of Dracula.
Yeah. I think these scenes never really outstay their welcome.
True.
There's just enough of that, I think, for it to just about still be fun.
Yeah, a huge part of that is the movie is fast as fuck, and the energy is absolutely in the red the whole way through.
Yeah. The energy of the movie as a whole is the same as the energy of Zack Galligan when he goes into the classroom, pretends to be sick, and also tries to get the girl out.
Also a good scene.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. It made me laugh. It didn't make me laugh out loud. A lot of this movie makes me go, these are the kind of things that people who find this funny laugh at. And then a couple of times I actually laughed. Can we talk about, because I can't avoid it, the Killdozer wheelchair situation at the end? Who the fuck is this guy and what is happening?
Well, that guy, the actor, he's in Spinal Tap.
Superb.
And he's in a bunch of other things. But, yeah, I don't really understand what his character... So, the plot that they're doing, that David Warner's character is doing. So he was like his Billy Peltzer's granddad's assistant, and his granddad was super into the occult, and he stole all of his precious occult artifacts. But luckily, his granddad's other assistant is alive and in a wheelchair, but also incredibly rich, and he amasses his secret gang of occult mates to come and try and stop David Warner, who hasn't aged. And when they go into the portals, they're not entering like fiction worlds, they're traveling through time. But then when they travel through time and they get killed, they immediately get transported back through time in the form of a waxwork. I don't understand any of what I just said. It is completely nonsensical, right?
It's the delivery of the what we're going to call the plot in this movie is so fragmented and spattered across such a long period of the movie. It's a broken mirror at best. And I have to say, dear listeners, I've never seen Jamie struggle to nail down the plot of a horror movie. Jamie researches this shit fucking meticulously and maps it out and has every angle covered. And I'm looking at a man right now who does not know what happens in this film.
No.
I mean, it must be a maze.
I do love that when Sir Peter Wernham Hogg is explaining to Billy Peltzer, like, that he needs 18 fictional characters to come to life. And he's like, why 18? And he's like, divide it by 3. 6, 6, and 6. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's the 80s. There's a lot of really good blow going around. And this script was probably written in a white hot 95 minutes. Like, that's my only explanation.
The script was actually written over a period of 4 days, Sam.
See, he's back in the game, people. Give me everything you got, Jamie. What was the weather that day? What was happening?
So the hit and run with David Warner thing isn't a mile away from the truth. So basically, Anthony Hickox was in a car accident where he drove into some producer or some agent or something.
Right.
And they got talking, And he was like, "Oh, I've got a script." And he was like, "Okay, well, why don't you bring it to the office? We'll meet next week."
Mm.
And so he was like, "Oh shit, I better go write a
Oh
script."
God. Okay.
And Waxwork is what we got. They shopped it around quite a lot of places.
Right.
Unsurprisingly, Sam, everywhere said no,
Right.
including Vestron, who then decided, okay, maybe we'll give it a punt. And so,
I mean, that's a pretty cool origin story. It sounds a bit like a pity fuck of a movie, which is not, a strong foot to lead with. But, that's an endearing bit of old 80s Hollywood, isn't it? You can't drive down a street in Hollywood without running over a producer and scoring a movie deal. It's very fucking lucky boomers.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm into that. Sure, I'll buy it. Unfortunately, the movie we got is a little bit all over the shop. I cannot fathom that this has 6.1 on IMDb and the Wicker Man remake with Nick Cage has something like 3.6. That makes no sense to me. This website is deeply flawed.
You've suggested that we cover the Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage at some point soon, so we will, and I will give you a full breakdown of why it is a raging, stinking piece of shit.
Okay, we're not doing it then. I thought there might be a shred of it that you enjoyed.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a fun experience, but it's fucking bad.
Yeah. It's still better than Waxwork.
I disagree.
Do you? That would be a good metric to measure films that are a little bit contentious by. Is it or is it not better than Nick Cage's fantastic remake? He didn't remake it, did he? He was just fucking in it. Calm down.
No, it was fucking Neil LaBute, which is insane, right?
Yeah, and there's nothing about that film that isn't completely bonkerzoid.
I've got a question for you, Sam, and this is an important question.
Yeah.
Are you going to seek out and watch Waxwork 2
Nope.
Lost in Time?
No. Not if you paid me.
What if I told you that it has Bruce Campbell in it?
I kind of know it has Bruce Campbell in it. I actually read an interview with old Hickox where he talks about his love of Bruce Campbell and mentions a load of movies where Bruce Campbell sucks. So I just can't get there. I read If Chins Could Kill, and I do not remember that movie being mentioned even once. And I think Bruce Campbell goes into huge detail about everything he's ever touched in that book. So it can't be one that he's particularly proud of. I have absolutely no interest in revisiting this universe. I can't believe I've watched this twice.
I haven't seen Waxwork 2.
Let's do it.
I am going to watch it at some point.
I'm sold. If you haven't seen it, I will watch it. That's my movie rule.
Okay, so I've brought you round.
Yeah, it was really hard. You really had to talk me into it. I went
Anthony
from
Hickox,
not if you've paid me to yes immediately.
Anthony Hickox also directed Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
Yes.
One of the 3 good Hellraiser movies.
Yeah, I found that movie fucking so disturbing. I really find Hellraiser gross and painful. And out of the Hellraiser movies I've seen, I think 3 is probably the one that fucked me up the most, maybe.
Interesting. Is it because of the guy with CDs coming out of his face and you've got a garage full of CDs?
Garage full of my own CDs. No, I just think I remember, again, I'm kind of guessing a little bit, but I think I remember Hellraiser 3 being a lot more polished and just a lot more believable, I think, as a movie. I think the effects are pretty stepped up. I mean, the effects are always good, but it's a matter of taste, really, isn't it? And I think, there's just something about it that goes a little bit too far for me.
Yeah, that's it. That's fair. I think the second one is the best, but
The second one is so fucking hard to watch. I mean, they all are. I think I don't have a lot of time for the Hellraiser movies. I think the first one is probably the best one I've seen. The second one, I think, is probably the most uncomfortable, and the third one is probably the one directed by Hickox. Fucking
Correct.
Insightful stuff tonight, everyone.
he also directed a movie in your favorite franchise of all time, Warlock.
Oh, yeah. This makes a lot of sense. So this guy is grim and grisly and directs movies that give me, as a child, horrible nightmares. That makes a lot of sense. Warlock is a movie that I saw too young and that really fucked me up, I think, on a very deep level. There's a lot of musical cues and visuals that are associated in my mind with just being really fucking upset.
Well, I'm sorry to make you relive that.
It's not even scary. Warlock is not even remotely scary. It's also shit, but it's burned into my mind.
He also directed a TV movie with Mario Van Peebles called Full Eclipse, which is about werewolf cops, and it's great.
Actually great?
Like, I mean,
No.
sure.
I'm glad you went on to explain that it was werewolf based, because I thought you said full of clits, which is different.
That is different. That's a Frank Henenlotter movie.
Yeah, it's something. Full of clits, back in the hood could be the... Wow, let's fucking get out of this Waxwork museum because it's melting my brain.
Okay. Well, before that, we've not touched on something really key and important here, Sam.
What am I missing? Go on.
The character of Hans,
Yes.
played by Miali Michu Majaros.
Pleased to meet you.
Very good.
What is there to say? Would you like to go first?
They are a weird little dude, right?
Listen, we've talked carefully about little people in movies in the past.
Yeah.
The whys, the whereofs, the motivation for inclusion, and usually, in our case, the chronic misuse and abuse of little people in cinema. This movie is no exception. The guy is cast in this role because he looks weird, and that's, nowadays not that cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's cast because he looks pretty funny stood next to ostensibly Lurch from the Addams Family.
Yeah, what about his acting? Pretty good.
I think it's some of the most egregious and unforgivable acting ever committed to cinema ever.
Yeah, I'm grasping here, Jamie. I just want something to be good about this film. He's fucking cool to look at, dude.
Yeah, he is cool to look at.
His IMDb pictures are fucking sick. There's one where he's a cowboy. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, in this, he's sort of, in the little suit, he's dressed like Hervé Villechaize in Fantasy Island. He wears a little suit.
This guy played Alf. So
Really?
Shut the fuck up, everyone. Yeah, everyone sit the fuck down. This guy was Alf.
I bet he's eating some pussy in his time.
Lord, Jamie
Alf
Brothers.
Alf eats cats.
Yes, I know.
Is the joke there,
Sam? I know. You didn't need to say it. Stuntman in Look Who's Talking. So everyone shut the fuck up. I mean, look, you can't take anything away from this guy, in my opinion. He fucking plays the character of Little Person Doorman. And that's it. I mean, He's Alf. He's a stunt person in Look Who's Talking. Come on. You know what that means. That means he played a baby. That's amazing.
Come on, man. Does that thing even work? No. There's nothing out there. It's just dead air.
What a complete fuck show this movie is. It's got a guy from Lethal Weapon 2. It's got Gimli. It's got a guy from Twin Peaks. It's got some absolute foxes from loads of daytime TV. It features Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Marquis de Sade, and a bunch of random bullshit. And a guy in a killdozer wheelchair leads a charge of occultists against a room full of living waxworks.
Yeah.
That all happens in this movie just like it's normal.
What's not to like, Sam? Also, don't forget, opens with Benny Goodman.
Your fave.
Yeah.
So what else is there to say about Waxwork, Jamie Carruthers?
I think you've summed it up quite nicely there. Okay, so
let's go vibes based. Always easy to go vibes based. Over to you.
Well, I'm going to sum up. I've got some thoughts, things that I like, right? I've mentioned quite a lot of them. There's some funny dialogue. I love the line that, what's her name, China gives, who frankly looks like if Kim Cattrall was playing Rizzo in Grease, and I think that's hot.
Nailed it. Oh, you think it's hot?
Yeah, absolutely. Rizzo in Grease, hot. Kim Cattrall, hot. Merge those two things together. Now we got a stew going, baby.
That's quite a fun game. Pick someone that's already hot and then replace them with another hot person.
Yeah. But she has a line, which I just love, which is dig it or fuck off.
Yeah, that was good.
And I think that's just great. I love that as a line.
I like her style in that scene. She's very assertive. I really like her in this movie, generally speaking. She carries a lot of really fucking doldrums scenes to somewhere at least more interesting. She flips around in a really believable, fickle teenage way that I really enjoy.
The amount that she wants to fuck David Warner when they first meet him,
Yeah.
it is insane.
It's powerful.
If I was getting that energy from a person that I just met,
Yeah.
I would have to go lie down afterwards. It would be far too intense.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, that's something you and I will never have to deal with. I really enjoy the high school scene where the football player comes running over and it's just like, I'm going to fuck your girlfriend. He has to just like sit there and take it. I really enjoy that. It's a lot of fun.
I also really enjoy, I mean, a thing that I enjoy in movies, and this, I mean, say what you will about me, but when people cannot contain their Heil Hitler salute and they just have to let it fly.
Let that freak flag fly, Hitler.
I think it's so funny. I feel like
just couldn't
I
find
only
anything
watch.
less funny. It's so shit.
I mean, I think I only watch movies where characters do that now. Because
I think I need more examples of uncontrollable Sieg Heiling to understand this as a feature in a genre because I can't think of any.
The Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah. I hate that like a guy starts waving his arms around and you just like cut Hitler dialogue over the top of it. Lazy, sloppy bullshit. Like
What's the movie where a guy does a Hitler salute and he's desperately trying to pull his arm down? Is that Dr. Strangelove?
could be. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm over Hitler.
Yeah?
I'm over it. I don't want to watch Hitler stuff.
You know what? You know what they say, Sam? Those who are over history are doomed to be napalmed to death by the Nazis.
Is that a real saying, Jamie? I don't think so.
I think it is a real something like that. Something like that.
I don't think the Nazis use napalm.
They would if they could.
Jamie's new podcast. Did the Nazis use napalm?
I love the music, apart from Benny Goodman that we've addressed, and also the inexplicable use of "It's My Party" and "I'll Cry If I Want to" over the credits.
I forgot about that.
The rest of the
turned
music
it off so quickly. As soon as I recognized that song was happening, I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Why that song? Can we
Why,
explain
dude?
that? It's so inexplicable.
Makes no sense.
But all the scored music, fucking the biggest air quotes that you can find for that one,
Yeah.
is so bad. It sounds like, imagine you were in a lift on hold with fucking Jan Schechter or something. It's awful. It's the worst thing you've ever heard.
It's you block it out. That's how bad it is. There's no music in this movie to my ears. It's just gone.
Another mild observation is in the Dracula scene, right? The butler that brings her the plate of organs or whatever it is has the most inexplicable facial hair. He looks like he Googled facial hair and was like, oh, that's what facial hair is. And just sort of cut out some bits from a magazine. It's so silly.
He just made his facial hair with whatever was around.
Yeah.
Shithouse.
It's just like this lack of attention to detail is why this movie doesn't really get a pass. Because it's like, it's so... I can't even think of the word. It's so like...
It's because it is
slapdash.
Yeah, it's batshit slapdash. It's total fucking nonsense tomfoolery. And that's why it gets a pass, because it doesn't fall firmly into any category that you should ever take seriously. It's not trying to scare you. It's not trying to teach you anything. It's not really trying to fuck with you all that much. All it's
teaches
really
us
doing...
a lot about Hitler.
Yeah, well, all it's really trying to do, I think, is keep you entertained for an hour and 35. And it does that at a galloping pace with oodles of energy. And in that sense, it succeeds. In every other conceivable metric, it is a dismal failure of a movie. But, you know, what else can you ask for? It's 1988. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I think in terms of a score, Sam, I am struggling.
Oh, Strugsville
I'm
to the
s
max.
I'm struggling harder than the cop when he tries to put the bit of waxwork that he's peeled off that woman's face into a baggie.
The whole scene is so awkward, and the effect is so bad, you can't tell what they're trying to convey. Are they saying it's clearly human material under wax, so it's a crime? Or are they saying it's 100% a waxwork? I don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. We don't know. This
Frankly, I'm
movie was
astonished that you've gone ahead with this episode, Jamie, because we have so little to pump here. There is not a lot of plum pumping going on.
the movie is fun. It moves at a clip, never gets boring, does a lot of silly things. Like I think you can enjoy this. It's too good to be so bad it's good.
Yeah, can't be written off completely.
But there's a lot of so bad it's good energy happening here.
That is a very astute point. To just bring it down a notch and be serious, you just fucking nailed it for me. That's exactly what I've been trying to formulate in my head. That's the answer.
Well, I am going to score this movie 2'9" out of 10.
I know why you've done that, and it's very funny to me, but it fucks me over because you rated it lower than I was going to. I can't possibly rate this higher than you. I'm giving it 1.8 Marquis de Sade lashes on my virgin skin out of 15 because this movie hurts to watch. But you're 100% correct. It has so much we don't give a fuck, so bad it's good energy with some little glimmers of decent movie fun that it is not to be binned entirely. I think this will appeal to 80s deep cut horror movie maniacs. Like this is one for people who just ravenously devour anything 80s because there'll be bags of fun in there for that kind of person.
Yeah.
For me, I just want to bury it deep in the garden. I'm done with Waxwork, and I don't even want to hear the word wax for the next week and a half. So go to bed, Waxwork. You're done.
Yeah, I think like with this plot, you would expect something like, I don't know, the Monster Squad.
Yeah, you'd expect that kind of. There's no unity in the central cast, really. There's a couple of nice shots of them all together, but that's surface level bullshit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You don't feel like they're a group. They're always fucking each other over and, tear assing off in different directions. And they're living out different movies, essentially, for the duration of the time that we're with them. So you don't get that gang or that group essence. You don't get the fun of the kind of adolescent strife. You don't get anything to really rebel against. The jeopardy is weird because the characters don't really understand what kind of danger they're in. Everyone is just walking around mystified and then running around screaming. So you don't get that. But you do get a lot of goofs. You can't have a bat say that to a gun and be a serious film. And that's the point where I knew what I was watching. Unfortunately, that was 1 hour and 34 minutes into a 1 hour and 35-minute movie. But, better late than never.
There's also a scene where the pod from
Yeah. Body Snatchers?
the pod from Invasion of the Body Snatchers says, "Feed me," which is a different movie.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, they're different things.
But the thing is, that is a decision, okay? That's written in the script, or possibly even worse, when they're watching it back in the edit, they're like, "Ooh, get in the vocal booth. I've got a hilarious line for you to deliver over this scene." What the fuck are you doing? Just hoovering up Chang like a maniac. Like, just bad. Bad, bad, bad. But we're giving you a pass, bud, because I think there's people out there who are going to fucking have an absolute hoot and a holler at this.
Yeah, I think in the right mood, I could be convinced.
Yeah.
I could sit down and watch this and have a whale of a time. It maybe wasn't last night, but
No.
another
True.
time, perhaps.
So many of these movies are heavily dependent on your mood when you watch them, right? And if you're excited about Waxwork, do not let us deter you. You might be fucking raring for this shit. So, dig deep. I think, Jamie, you like 100 movies worse than this.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So I think it's mood-based, preference-based, 100% taste-based, and ripe for the licking. I don't know what that means.
This movie says to you, Sam, dig it or fuck off. And I guess you're going to fuck off.
I'm going to dig it and fuck off. How about that?
But before you fuck off, Sam, why don't you tell the people how they can support the Final Transmission podcast?
They can do a number of things. Firstly, they need to get on social media and stop watching baking videos or whatever people are watching right now. Demure and what is it? Mindful and Demure. Stop that and follow at FT Horror Show.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. And then I need you to enjoy the content that Jamie makes because he works really hard at it, and go tell your friends all about it. Or don't even tell them, just send it to them using the internet. It's bytes. It's all about the bytes now, kids.
They also
So do
need
that.
to go to whatever they're listening to this on and
Press the 5-star button and then write how much you love this podcast and why, and how much you recommend it to all your friends and family and colleagues, and how it didn't get you fired, ostracized, alienated, or nixed in any way. Do that. Do it in that order. Do it now. Thank you.
yeah, and we'll see you next week for more Final Transmissioning.
When we will be talking about
1977 House or Hausu. I'm pretty sure, Sam, you're going to have some strong, strong feelings.
I think with a movie like that, you can't not. I'm very excited.
So until then, dig it or fuck off.
Sleep tight, dingleberries.
Is that a new catchphrase you're working on?
Yeah, just workshopping, really waxworking these these fucking phrases.